The Smart Marketer's Playbook, How to Win at Digital Marketing Without Losing Your Mind or Your Money. An unofficial guide to Google's Fundamentals of Digital Marketing course. Have you ever launched something you were passionate about, only to hear the deafening sound of digital crickets? You've poured your heart and soul into your project, your brand, or your idea. You hit publish and wait for the world to notice. Instead, you get a handful of visitors, mostly you and your mom, a follower count that refuses to budge, and a growing suspicion that you're doing it all wrong. The world of digital marketing feels like a secret club you're not invited to. It's a chaotic mess of scary acronyms like SEO and PPC and CTR, mysterious algorithms and gurus who make it all sound impossibly complex. So you guess. You boost a post here, you write a blog there, and throw your money at a system that feels more like a slot machine than a strategy. This book is the antidote to that chaos. Drawing on the timeless principles from Google's own Fundamentals of Digital Marketing course, this isn't another dry textbook filled with jargon. This is your personal playbook, your unofficial cheat sheet to winning the game of digital marketing without losing your mind or your money. Inside, you'll discover how to stop guessing, start strategizing, find your perfect audience, and understand what they actually want, using a simple method that feels more like being a detective than doing homework. Make Google your best friend. Turn the dark art of search engine optimization, SEO, into a simple step-by-step recipe for getting discovered. Run ads like a scientist, not a gambler. Learn how to use paid ads to get predictable results with a small budget, transforming them from a cost into a powerful engine for growth. Conquer social media without selling your soul. Find the one platform that's right for you and build a genuine community that loves what you do instead of just broadcasting into the void. Build a website that actually works. Learn the secrets of designing a digital storefront so clean and effective that visitors can't help but become customers and fans. Packed with relatable stories of failure, simple analogies, think of SEO as a friendly librarian and social media as a party, and actionable checklists, the Smart Marketer's Playbook strips away the complexity and gives you a clear, repeatable system for getting results. If you're ready to stop feeling overwhelmed and finally build a marketing plan that works, your playbook is waiting. Introduction: my accidental journey into the land of clicks, conversions, and cat videos. All right, let's be honest. My first real attempt at digital marketing was a complete and utter train wreck. It was a few years ago. I had this idea for a web app that I was convinced was going to be the next big thing. I'd spent months coding it, perfecting every little feature, and designing what I thought was a pretty slick user interface. I was buzzing with that classic founder's energy, you know the one, a potent cocktail of overcaffeination and unshakable optimism. I was genuinely convinced that the moment I pushed this thing live, the world would collectively gasp, a shower of venture capital would rain down from the heavens, and I'd be on the cover of Wired magazine by Tuesday. I hit the launch button, and then nothing. I mean, nothing. The deafening sound of digital crickets. My analytics dashboard looked like a ghost town. The only visitor was me, obsessively refreshing the page, and my mom, who'd called to say she couldn't find the like button. I had poured my heart, soul, and an ungodly number of late nights into this project. I had the passion. I had the work ethic. What I didn't have, as I painfully discovered, was a clue. I had naively subscribed to the "if you build it, they will come" fallacy. Spoiler alert, they don't. You have to go out and get them. And to do that, you need a plan. My grand marketing strategy, if you could even call it that, was to post about it once on my personal Facebook page and hope for the best. It was the digital equivalent of whispering my big idea into a hurricane and expecting a standing ovation. This failure stung. It wasn't just that the project flopped, it was the feeling of being completely lost in a world that everyone else seemed to understand. A world of acronyms like
SEO, PPC, and CTR, of mysterious forces called algorithms, and of teenagers on TikTok getting millions of views for dancing with a mop. It felt like I was trying to solve a Rubik's Cube in the dark. It was during this period of head-scratching and mild despair that I stumbled upon something that would genuinely change the game for me. Google's Fundamentals of Digital Marketing course. The best part? It was completely free. Now, I'm usually skeptical of free online courses. They often feel like a long sales pitch for a more expensive product, but this was different. It was a comprehensive, well-structured, and incredibly practical guide to the entire digital landscape. It was like someone had finally handed me the instruction manual. For the first time, concepts like search engine optimization weren't terrifyingly complex. They were just a systematic way of helping people find what they're looking for. Paid advertising wasn't a money pit. It was a controllable experiment for growth. It gave me the framework, the mental models that I desperately needed. This book you're holding is my tribute to that discovery. But let me be crystal clear. This is not just a boring page-by-page summary of the Google course. You can go and take the course for yourself, and I highly recommend you do. Instead, think of this as the ultimate cheat sheet, the fun, engaging, and highly caffeinated companion guide. This is the book I wish I'd had when I was starting out. I've taken all the golden nuggets from the course, filtered them through my own experiences of trial and lots of error, and organized them into a playbook that is designed to be actionable from page 1. We're going to strip away the jargon and replace it with relatable analogies. We'll turn intimidating concepts into simple, step-by-step processes you can implement today. We'll focus on the 20% of efforts that will get you 80% of the results, because I'm all about that productivity life. My goal is to help you navigate the digital landscape and avoid the potholes I so spectacularly fell into. I want to save you the time, the money, and the heartache of launching to an audience of 0. So, whether you're a student with a side hustle, an entrepreneur with a big idea, a creator looking to build an audience, or just someone curious about how this whole digital world works, you're in the right place. We'll laugh at my past mistakes, we'll learn the systems that actually work, and most importantly, we'll get things done and start building a marketing strategy that doesn't make you want to tear your hair out. Ready to level up? Let's get started.
Part 1. The foundation. Don't build your house on digital quicksand. All right, let's talk about building a house for a second. If I gave you a plot of land and an unlimited budget, what's the first thing you'd get excited about? If you're anything like me, your mind immediately jumps to the fun stuff. You're probably picturing the open-plan kitchen with the ridiculously cool marble countertop. You're thinking about the home cinema, the walk-in wardrobe, the perfect shade of paint for the living room. It's Pharaoh and Ball, obviously. You're mentally furnishing the place, picking out the art, and planning the housewarming party. What you're probably not dreaming about is digging a massive hole in the ground and pouring in several tons of wet concrete. The foundation is the least sexy part of building a house. It's dirty, it's boring, and it's completely invisible once the house is finished. No one ever walks into a beautiful home and says, "Wow, would you look at the structural integrity of that foundation?" And yet, without it, everything else is completely worthless. That dream kitchen? It's going to end up in a sinkhole. Digital marketing is exactly the same. When people decide to do marketing, they almost always leap straight to the decorating phase. They start a TikTok account, they try to design a viral meme, they spend hours agonizing over the perfect Instagram filter. This is the fun stuff, the visible stuff. It feels productive. I know this because I did it. As I told you in the introduction, I built my shiny app, the decoration, and completely ignored the foundation. The result? My beautiful house sank straight into digital quicksand. So, in this first part of the book, we're going to resist the temptation to decorate. We're going to put on our hard hats and do the boring but essential work of laying a rock-solid foundation. Getting this part right is the single most important thing you can do. It's the secret sauce that makes everything else
actually work. It's the difference between guessing and having a strategy. We're going to focus on two core things. First, getting a clear map of the entire digital territory so you know what's possible. And second, figuring out who precisely you're trying to build your house for. Trust me, a little bit of foundational work now will save you a world of pain later. It will make you more effective, more efficient, and far less likely to waste your precious time and money. So, let's get our hands dirty. It's time to break ground.
Chapter 1. Your first steps into a larger world. Why digital marketing is like learning to cook. Let me tell you about the great chicken catastrophe of 2015. I was in my final year of medical school, and I decided it was time to become a proper adult. This meant, among other things, learning to cook something more sophisticated than pot noodle. I had friends coming over for dinner, and I wanted to impress them. I wasn't aiming for anything crazy, just a nice, simple roast chicken. How hard could it be? Famous last words. I found a recipe online by some celebrity chef. It looked amazing. The chicken was golden browned and glistening, surrounded by perfectly caramelized vegetables. This, I thought, would be my masterpiece. The problem was, I didn't really follow the recipe. I was a cocky medical student after all. I skimmed the instructions, decided some steps were probably optional, and figured I could eyeball the measurements. A bit more of this, a little less of that. What's the worst that could happen? I preheated the oven, or at least I thought I did. I threw the chicken in a pan, sprinkled it with some random herbs from the back of the cupboard, and shoved it in. An hour later, my friends arrived to a smoke-filled apartment and a smell that was less cozy Sunday roast and more crime scene. I pulled out the chicken. The outside was a burnt, blackened husk. The inside? Alarmingly, almost completely raw. My culinary masterpiece looked like a meteorite that had translanded in a puddle of salmonella. We ordered pizza. My cooking disaster taught me a valuable lesson that has stuck with me ever since. When you're new to something, a recipe is not a suggestion, it's a lifeline. And that brings us to digital marketing. For most of us, looking at the world of digital marketing feels a lot like looking at a recipe from a 3-Michelin-star restaurant. It's intimidating. There are dozens of weird-sounding ingredients. What on earth is a backlink? Complicated techniques, programmatic ad buying, and an assumption that you already know what you're doing. It's no wonder most people either give up before they start, or, like me with my chicken, they just wing it. Throw a few random things together and hope for the best. They boost a post here, write a blog there, and end up with the marketing equivalent of a burnt, raw chicken. A lot of smoke, a bad smell, and no one wanting what you're serving. But here's the secret. You don't need to be a Michelin-star chef to get started. You just need to learn how to make a decent omelet. And the Fundamentals of Digital Marketing course is essentially the world's best recipe for a marketing omelet. So let's put on our aprons and break down the basics of our new digital kitchen. This is the simple framework that underpins everything else. Your digital kitchen, the online ecosystem. Forget all the scary jargon for a minute. The entire digital marketing world can be broken down into 4 simple concepts, just like a recipe. The dish, your goal. What are you trying to make? Before you do anything, you need an objective. Are you trying to get more people to visit your blog? Traffic? Sell a product? Sales? Get signups for your newsletter? Leads? Knowing your end goal is like deciding you're making a roast chicken and not a cake. It dictates everything else. Your kitchen, your website or platform. This is your home base. It's the one part of the internet you truly own and control. It could be a personal blog, an e-commerce store, a landing page for your app. This is where you'll be sending people. If it's messy, confusing, or the oven is broken, it doesn't matter how good your ingredients are. The supermarket aisles, your marketing channels. This is how you find your ingredients and, crucially, how your future customers find you. Each aisle is a different channel. You've got the search aisle, SEO and SEM, where people are actively looking for things using Google, Bing, etc. The social aisle, social media, where people are hanging out with friends, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. You don't go there to shop, but you might be tempted by a free sample. The mailbox, email marketing, the most direct way to speak to people who have already given you permission to contact them. The billboard aisle,
Display and video ads. Getting your brand in front of people while they're browsing other sites or watching videos, like on YouTube. The recipe. Your strategy. This is how you put it all together. Your strategy is the step-by-step plan that says, first, I'll go down the search aisle to find people looking for easy chicken recipes. Then I'll lead them back to my clean, well-organized kitchen where I have a great recipe waiting. If they like it, I'll ask them if they want more recipes sent to their mailbox. That's it. That's the core of it. Everything else, all the complicated tactics and buzzwords, is just a more advanced version of these 4 things. My mistake with the chicken wasn't that I lacked passion or that I didn't want a good result. It was that I ignored the fundamental recipe because I thought I knew better. I tried to do the fancy seasoning without even knowing how to work my own oven. In the chapters that follow, we're going to walk through this framework step by step. We'll learn how to follow the recipe. We'll start simple. We'll measure our ingredients. We will not set off the smoke alarm. By the end of this book, you won't just have a vague idea of how to do marketing. You'll have a reliable, repeatable process for getting results. You'll realize that digital marketing isn't some dark art. It's a skill, and like any skill, it can be learned. You don't need to be a genius. You just need to be willing to follow the recipe. Let's start cooking. Chapter 2, Finding Your People. How to Read Minds Without Getting Arrested. When I first started my YouTube channel, my strategy for deciding what videos to make was, shall we say, chaotic. One week, I'd make a video about how to study for exams. The next, I'd review a tech gadget. The week after that, I might talk about a random productivity book I'd read. My thinking was, if I cover lots of different topics, I'll appeal to lots of different people. It makes a certain kind of logical sense, right? Cast a wide net, catch more fish. The reality was that I was casting a wide net into an empty ocean. My growth was painfully slow. I was talking, but it felt like no one was really listening. I was trying to be everything to everyone, which meant I was nothing to anyone. It's like trying to have a conversation at a loud party by shouting into the middle of the room. A few people might turn their heads for a second, but you're not going to connect with anyone. The real magic happens when you ignore the crowd, walk up to one person, and start a genuine conversation about something you both care about. This is the single biggest mistake people make in marketing, and in any form of creation, for that matter. They shout into the void. To stop shouting and start connecting, you need to know exactly who you're talking to. You need to understand them so well that it feels like you can read their mind. And no, this doesn't involve any weird psychic powers or illegal surveillance. It involves something much more powerful: empathy. The tool we use to build this empathy is called a customer persona, or an audience persona. It sounds like a dry, corporate-speak term, but I promise you, it's the closest thing we have to a marketing superpower. A persona is simply a fictional character that you create who represents your ideal audience member. You give them a name, a backstory, and most importantly, you figure out what makes them tick. This isn't about creating a stereotype. It's about building a composite sketch of a real person so you can stop talking to a faceless crowd and start talking to someone. So how do we build this character? How do we figure out their deepest hopes and fears? We become a detective. Welcome to the Sherlock Holmes Method of customer analysis. Forget boring market research spreadsheets for a minute. Think of yourself as a detective and your ideal customer's problem as a case to be solved. Your job is to gather clues and use the power of deduction to build a profile of your subject. 1. Identify the crime scene, forums, and online communities. Where do your people hang out when they have a problem? They go online to complain, ask questions, and share solutions. These places are your primary crime scenes, and they are littered with clues. Reddit. This is an absolute goldmine. Are you helping people learn to code? There are dozens of subreddits like r/learn programming. Helping people get fit? Check out r/fitness. Find the subreddits where your people congregate and just listen. What questions pop up over and over? What are their biggest frustrations? What advice are they giving each other? You are literally reading their inner monologue. Facebook groups, Quora, Discord servers, same principle. Find the digital watering holes for your audience. Your mission is to be a fly on the wall. Pay attention to the exact language they use. This is how you learn to speak their language. 2. Analyze the eyewitness reports, product reviews. Want to know what people truly want? Go read reviews for products, books, or courses that are similar to what you want to offer. The 5-star reviews, the loves. What specific features or outcomes do people rave about? This tells you what they value most. They'll say things like, "This course finally explained X in a way I could understand." That's a clue. The 1-star reviews, the hates. This is often even more valuable. What are people complaining about? The book was too academic. The software was buggy and confusing. I wish it had a chapter on why. These complaints are a blueprint for how you can be better. You are literally getting a list of demands from your future audience. 3. Conduct the interrogation, surveys, and interviews. Sometimes the most direct way to get clues is simply to ask. If you already have a small audience, even just on social media, this is perfect. The simple survey. Use a free tool like Google Forms. Don't ask a million questions. Ask 1 or 2 powerful ones. My all-time favorite is, what's the biggest challenge you're facing right now when it comes to your topic? The casual chat. Find 3 to 5 people who fit your potential audience and ask if you can chat with them for 15 minutes. Offer to buy them a virtual coffee. Don't try to sell them anything. Just be curious. Tell me about your struggles with X. What have you tried so far? What did or didn't work? From clues to character, building your persona. After your detective work, you'll have a notebook full of clues. Now we assemble them into a profile, and we need to go beyond the obvious. Most people stop at demographics, the basic factual stuff like age, gender, and location. This is like describing Sherlock's suspect as a man with a hat. It's not very useful. We need to dive into psychographics, the juicy stuff that drives their behavior, goals and aspirations. What are they trying to achieve? What does success look like for them? Like, I want to start a successful side hustle so I can quit my boring 9-to-5 job. Pains and fears. What's standing in their way? What keeps them up at night? Like, I'm scared of wasting money on a business idea that fails. Or, I feel overwhelmed and don't know where to start. Hopes and dreams. What is the ultimate transformation they're looking for? Like, I dream of having the freedom to work from anywhere in the world. Once you have this, you can create your one-page persona. This is your North Star. Every time you create a piece of content, write an email, or develop a product, you will look at this page and ask, would blank find this useful? Would they understand this? Would this help them solve their problem? Here's a simple template. Name, like Side Hustle Sam. Photo, find a stock photo that feels right. Quick bio, a 28-year-old graphic designer working a corporate job. Feels unfulfilled and creatively stifled. Wants to start a freelance business, but feels overwhelmed. Quote, I know I have the skills to go freelance, but I'm terrified of the business side of things and don't know how to find clients. See how much clearer that is? Now, instead of shouting into the void, you're talking directly to Sam. You know his fears, so you can reassure them. You know his goals, so you can help him achieve them. Your homework for this chapter is simple. Create your first one-page persona. Don't worry about getting it perfect. Just do the detective work and build your first draft. This single piece of paper will become the most valuable tool in your entire marketing playbook. It's the foundation upon which everything else is built.
Part 2. The attraction, how to get noticed in a crowded digital world. Okay, deep breath. The hard hat work is done. If we're sticking with our house building analogy from part 1, the concrete foundation has been poured and has set solid. You've done the boring but vital work. You have a clear objective for your project, and more importantly, you have your one-page persona, your side hustle Sam or creative Chloe, tacked to the wall. You have built a beautiful house, specifically designed for your ideal guest. There's just one small problem. The house is empty. The lights are on, the snacks are out, but the doorbell isn't ringing. Right now, your amazing project exists on a quiet street in a corner of the internet nobody knows about. This is the point where many people panic. They've done all this foundational work, and they're still hearing those deafening digital crickets. They start thinking, maybe my idea was bad after all. It's not. Your idea is fine. The problem is that building the house is only half the job. Now you have to throw the party. And to throw a party, you need to send out invitations. You need to let people know where the party is, why it's going to be awesome, and why they absolutely have to be there. This is the attraction phase. It's the part where we stop building and start waving our arms. It's where we transition from being an architect to being a promoter. And in a digital world that is basically one gigantic 24/7 festival with millions of other parties happening at the same time, getting noticed can feel like an impossible task. How do you get your invitation seen? How do you stand out from the noise? The temptation is to run into the middle of the festival, stand on a chair, and scream, "My party is the best! Please come!" This is the marketing equivalent of spam. It's loud, it's desperate, and it's wildly ineffective. The smart marketer, the kind of marketer this book is training you to be, doesn't do that. The smart marketer understands that there are different, more elegant ways to attract the right people. In the chapters that follow, we're going to explore the 3 main strategies for getting your party on the map. Think of them like this. Becoming the Ultimate Guide, Chapter 3, Search. This is for the people who are already looking for a party like yours. They're wandering around the festival, actively typing "house party with good music and no small talk" into their phones. Your job is to be the friendly, helpful guide who pops up and says, "I know exactly the place. It's right this way." This is the world of search engine optimization, or SEO, and it's about being the most helpful answer. Sending the VIP invitation, Chapter 4, Paid Ads. Sometimes you don't want to wait for people to find you. You know exactly who you want at your party, and you want to make sure they get the message. This strategy is like paying a courier to hand-deliver a beautifully designed, personalized invitation directly to them. It costs a bit of money, but it's fast, it's targeted, and it makes people feel special. This is the art of smart advertising. Being the life of another party, Chapter 5, Social Media. This is the long game. It's about showing up at other, bigger parties where your ideal guests are already hanging out. You're not there to drag people away. You're there to be so interesting, so valuable, so genuinely fun to be around that people start asking, "Who is that person? I wonder what they're up to later." This is the magic of building a community on social media. These are the core pillars of attraction. You don't have to master all of them at once. In fact, you shouldn't. But understanding how they work is the key to finally getting that doorbell to ring. So let's get ready to open the doors. It's time to get noticed. Chapter 3. The Search for Everything. How to Become Google's Best Friend. I remember staring at my Google Analytics dashboard for my first ever website. It showed a grand total of 3 visitors in the past week. I knew for a fact that 2 of them were me, on different devices, and the 3rd was my mom, who had accidentally closed the tab while trying to figure out how to bookmark it. My beautiful, well-designed house was built. My ideal visitor, my persona, was clearly defined, but my house was essentially invisible. It was like I'd built it in the middle of a forest with no roads leading to it. I knew the answer was SEO, or search engine optimization. But honestly, the term itself was terrifying. It sounded like something you'd need a computer science degree and a secret handshake to understand. The guides I found online were full of talk about spiders, crawling, indexing, and link juice. It felt less like marketing and more like a Dungeons and Dragons campaign. So I did what anyone would do. I ignored it for a while and hoped the problem would solve itself. Spoiler, it didn't. It was only when I finally decided to tackle the SEO modules in the Google course that the penny dropped. SEO isn't some dark, mystical art. It's actually incredibly logical. It's about making friends with the world's biggest, fastest, nerdiest librarian. Welcome to the Google Library. Imagine Google is the ultimate librarian. This librarian has read every single book or web page in the entire world and has created a flawless, instantaneous card catalog, Google's Index. Every day, billions of people walk up to this librarian and ask for things. Where can I find a book on how to bake sourdough bread for beginners? Do you have a book with reviews for the best running shoes for flat feet? Show me books about funny cat videos. The librarian's only job is to instantly hand them the single best, most relevant, most helpful book on that topic. SEO is simply the art of organizing and labeling your book, your webpage, so that the librarian knows exactly what it's about and can confidently recommend it to the right person. That's it. You're not trying to trick the librarian. You're not using secret code words. You are simply being the most helpful and organized author you can be. So how do we do that? It's a two-step process. Step 1. Know what people are asking the librarian. Keyword research. Before you write your book, it helps to know what topics people are actually interested in. This is keyword research, but let's rebrand it. It's not about finding keywords to stuff into your text. It's about understanding the questions your audience is asking Google. Remember our persona from the last chapter? Side Hustle Sam. What is Sam actually typing into that search bar at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday night? He's probably not typing freelance business ideation. That sounds like something from a business textbook. He's probably typing things like, how to get my first freelance client? How much should I charge as a freelance graphic designer? Freelance contract template free. Is freelancing a good idea? These phrases are pure gold. Each one is a direct window into the mind of your user. It's a problem they need solved. Your job is to create the content, the blog post, the video, the guide that solves that exact problem. Free tools like the Google Keyword Planner, you need a Google account, but you don't have to run ads to use it, or even just the autocomplete suggestions that pop up when you start typing in Google are fantastic places to start your detective work. Your goal is to find questions that A, your audience is asking, and B, you can genuinely help them answer. Step 2. Make your book easy for the librarian to read. On-page SEO. Once you've chosen the question you want to answer, you need to create your content and package it in a way that our librarian, Google, can understand. Think of it like organizing your book. The title of your book, title tag. This is the most important thing. It needs to be clear, compelling, and contain the core question. Instead of a vague title like, My Thoughts on Business, a much better title is, How to Get Your First 3 Freelance Clients, a step-by-step guide. The user knows what they're getting, and the librarian knows exactly where to file it. The blurb on the back, meta description. This is the short snippet of text that appears under your title in the search results. It doesn't directly help you rank higher, but it convinces the user to click on your book instead of the one above or below it. Make it a compelling summary of the problem you solve. The table of contents, headings and subheadings. Just like in a real book, you use headings,
H1, H2, H3 in web speak to structure your content. This makes it easy for a human to scan and easy for our librarian to quickly grasp the structure and main points of your content. The actual content, the words on the page. This is the most important part. Is your book actually good? Is it well written? Does it comprehensively answer the user's question? Is it more helpful than the other books on the shelf? At the end of the day, the librarian's reputation is on the line. They want to recommend genuinely good content. Your main job is to create the best, most helpful resource for that specific query. Laugh at the jargon, a no-stress SEO dictionary. Let's quickly demystify some of those scary terms. Backlink. It's a vote of confidence. It's simply a link from another website to yours. If a very popular and respected book like a major news site links to your book, our librarian sees that and thinks, wow, that book must be pretty good. Domain authority. Your website's overall reputation score. A new website is like an unknown author. A site like Wikipedia or the BBC is like Stephen King. The librarian already trusts them. It takes time to build this. Alt text. It's a description of an image. It's for visually impaired users who use screen readers, and it also helps our librarian understand what an image is about. It's the decent thing to do, and it helps your SEO. Win-win. SERP stands for Search Engine Results Page. It's just the fancy name for the page of results Google shows you after you search for something. That's it. Your actionable SEO starter pack. Feeling overwhelmed? Don't be. Here's a simple, actionable checklist. Don't worry about anything else until you've got a handle on these. Pick one how-to question. Based on your persona, choose one specific problem you can solve. Use Google's autocomplete to find a question people are actually typing. Create the best answer. Write a piece of content, a blog post is a great place to start, that comprehensively answers that question. Be helpful. Use simple language. Give it a clear title. Write a clear, compelling title tag that includes the question. Structure it with headings. Break up your content with clear H2 and H3 subheadings. That's your first step. You've just created a perfectly organized book and placed it in the library. You're no longer shouting into the void. You are creating a helpful resource that is waiting to be discovered. SEO isn't a one-time trick. It's an ongoing process of being helpful and organized. And the best part? Unlike paid ads, once you have a piece of content that ranks well, it can bring people to your door for months or even years, completely for free. You're not trying to trick a machine. You're trying to help a person. And that's a game worth playing.
Chapter 4. Paid ads for people who hate spending money. The art of smart advertising. I want you to picture a slot machine. It's loud, it's flashy, and it promises the world. You pull the lever, the wheels spin, and maybe, just maybe, you'll hit the jackpot. More likely, you'll walk away with lighter pockets and a vague sense of regret. For the longest time, this was my mental model for paid advertising. It felt like gambling. You throw money into the mysterious Google or Facebook machine, pull the lever, and pray for a return. And the first time I tried it, that's exactly what happened. I'd written a blog post that I was particularly proud of. It was, I thought, the definitive guide to studying for medical school exams. I'd spent days on it. This was my Mona Lisa. The world needs to see this, I thought. So I decided to promote it. I clicked the big blue Boost Post button on Facebook, the digital equivalent of a slot machine's glowing Play Now sign. I allocated a budget of £50, which felt like an enormous amount of money at the time. I vaguely clicked a few targeting options, hit confirm, and sat back expecting a flood of traffic. Over the next few days, I obsessively watched my £50 dwindle away. My post got a few hundred likes from random people in countries I couldn't pronounce, but my website traffic barely budged. No one signed up for my newsletter, no one left a comment. My 50 pounds was just gone. I felt like an idiot. The slot machine had taken my money, and I had nothing to show for it. I swore off paid ads, concluding they were a scam or something only giant companies with million-dollar budgets could afford to do. It took me years to realize the problem wasn't the machine. The problem was that I was using it all wrong. I was treating it like a gambler, not a scientist. Reframe your brain. From slot machine to vending machine. This chapter is about one crucial mental shift. Paid advertising is not a cost. It's an investment in data. It's not a slot machine, it's a vending machine. Think about it. With a vending machine, the process is clear. You put a specific amount of money in, say £1. You press a specific button, B4, and you get a specific outcome, a packet of crisps. It's a predictable, repeatable system. If you put in £1 and get something worth £1.50 to you, you'd do that all day long. Smart advertising works the same way. The goal is to build your own little vending machine where you can put £1 of ad spend in and get more than £1 of value out, whether that value is a sale, a lead, or just valuable data. This requires a completely different approach. We're not boosting posts and hoping for the best. We are running controlled, scientific experiments with a clear hypothesis. Welcome to your first lab session. Your first ad experiment, a scientist's guide to Google Ads. We're going to put on our lab coats and design an experiment that is designed to get us an answer, not to make us rich overnight. The goal is to start small, measure everything, and not be afraid to fail. Because in science, a failed experiment still gives you a valuable result. Step 1. The hypothesis. What are we trying to prove? Every good experiment starts with a hypothesis. You don't just mix random chemicals together. In advertising, your hypothesis is your goal. For your first ad, your goal should be incredibly simple and measurable. Here are some good starter hypotheses. I believe I can get 50 people who are interested in my topic to visit my blog post for under 20 pounds. Or, I believe I can get 5 people to download my free PDF checklist for less than 25 pounds. Notice we're not saying make 1 million sales. We're setting a small, clear, and budget-contained goal. This isn't about profit yet. It's about proving a concept. Step 2. The test subjects, targeting the right people. This is the most critical step, and it's where my first 50 pounds went wrong. I showed my ad to everyone. You are going to show your ad to almost no one. Remember Side Hustle Sam from Chapter 2? This is where he becomes your superpower. In Google Ads, you don't just show ads. You show ads to specific people who are exhibiting specific behaviors. For a Google search ad, the magic is that you're only showing it to people who are literally typing your chosen keywords into the search bar. They are literally raising their hand and saying, I have this problem right now. Your job is to get hyper-specific. Don't target business. Target people searching for how to find clients. By narrowing your audience, you increase the chances that your ad will be super relevant to them, and you don't waste money showing it to people who don't care. Step 3. The experiment itself. Crafting your ad. Your ad is not a creative masterpiece. It's a direct response to a person's problem. A simple Google search ad has 3 main parts. Headline. This should mirror their search query. If they searched for how to find clients, your headline should be something like, find your first freelance client. It immediately tells them you're in the right place. Description. A short 2-line summary of how you solve their problem. Our free guide shows you a 5-step process to land clients. Download the guide now. No fluff. And the landing page. Where do they go after they click?
Send them to a page that is 100% focused on delivering the promise of your ad. Don't send them to your messy homepage. Send them directly to the blog post or the sign-up page. Step 4. Analyze the data. Did it work? After your experiment has run for a few days with a tiny budget, £5 a day is plenty. You look at the results. You're not looking at vague metrics like reach or impressions. You're a scientist looking at 2 key numbers. Cost per click, or CPC. Literally, how much did you pay for each click? This tells you how much it costs to get someone to your house. Conversion rate. Of the people who clicked, what percentage of them took the action you wanted them to take, e.g., download the PDF? If you spent £20 and got 40 clicks, your CPC is 0.50. If 4 of those 40 people downloaded your guide, your conversion rate is 10%. You now have a priceless piece of data. It costs you roughly £5 to get one person to download your guide. Now you can ask an intelligent question. Is a new email subscriber worth £5 to me? If the answer is yes, congratulations, your vending machine works. Now you can think about adding more money to it. If the answer is no, that's also a great result. Your experiment showed your hypothesis was wrong. Now you can tweak the experiment, change the ad copy, target a different keyword, or improve the landing page, and run it again. This is the game. It's a game of iteration, not of luck. My £50 failure wasn't a waste because the ad didn't work. It was a waste because I learned nothing. I had no hypothesis and no useful data at the end. Start small. Think like a scientist. And reframe every penny you spend as a tuition fee for learning what your customers actually want. That's an investment that will pay dividends for years to come.
Chapter 5. The Social Butterfly Effect. Winning friends and influencing customers on social media. When I first decided to get serious about social media, my strategy was a masterclass in how to do everything wrong. I created an account on every platform I could think of. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, you name it. My brilliant plan was to be everywhere at once. I figured more platforms meant more chances to be seen. Then came the content phase. I would write a blog post or upload a new YouTube video, and then I would robotically copy and paste the link across all of these platforms with a generic caption like, "New post, check it out here." Link. The result? Absolute, soul-crushing silence. My follower counts were stagnant, my engagement was basically 0. It was like I was standing in the middle of a dozen different parties, shouting through a megaphone about my own party somewhere else. People weren't just ignoring me, they were actively annoyed. I was that guy, the party crasher who only talks about himself. My mistake was fundamental. I was treating social media as a series of billboards where I could broadcast my message. I saw it as a distribution channel. But that's not what social media is. Social media is not a billboard, it's a party. Think about it. People don't go to parties to be advertised to. They go to hang out, to be entertained, to connect with people, and to feel like they're part of something. If you show up and just yell about your stuff, you'll be politely, or not so politely, ignored. The people who succeed on social media, the creators and brands we genuinely love to follow, understand this. They act like great party hosts. They share interesting stories. They introduce people to each other. They make you laugh. They teach you something cool. And every now and then, when they've earned your trust, they might mention something they're working on. The goal isn't to blast your message to the masses. It's to build a real community, one genuine connection at a time. But this leads to the next big question. With so many parties happening online, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, which one should you even go to? The fear of missing out, FOMO, is real. Trying to be everywhere at once is a surefire recipe for burnout and mediocrity. The secret is to not even try. You just need to find the one party that fits your personality and where your people, like our friend Side Hustle Sam, are already hanging out. To help you decide, I've created a little quiz. The social media personality quiz. What kind of party host are you? Be honest with yourself. Which of these sounds most like you and the kind of value you want to provide? 1. Are you the teacher? Your vibe, you love breaking down complex topics and explaining things in a clear, structured way. You enjoy going in depth and creating detailed tutorials or guides. Your go-to party? YouTube. It's the ultimate platform for how-to content. People come here specifically to learn. Your superpower is patience and clarity. 2. Are you the visual storyteller? Your vibe, you have a great eye for aesthetics, design, and beauty. You think in images and can tell a story or evoke a feeling with a single photo or a beautifully crafted graphic. Your go-to party? Instagram or Pinterest. These are visual-first platforms. Your superpower is curation and creating a beautiful, cohesive feed that inspires people. 3. Are you the witty conversationalist? Your vibe, you're quick, clever, and love a good debate. You can distill a big idea into a short, punchy sentence. You thrive on real-time news and joining the conversation of the day. Your go-to party is Twitter, or X, whatever we're calling it this week. It's a fast-moving stream of consciousness. Your superpower is brevity and being able to engage in rapid-fire dialogue. 4. Are you the professional networker? Your vibe, your focus is on careers, business development, and industry insights. You want to connect with peers, share professional achievements, and build a network in a more formal setting. Your go-to party? LinkedIn. It's the digital equivalent of a corporate networking event, but you can do it in your pajamas. Your superpower is sharing professional expertise and case studies. 5. Are you the entertainer? Your vibe, you're charismatic, funny, and have a knack for grabbing attention quickly. You're not afraid to be a little silly and show your personality on camera. Your go-to party is TikTok or Instagram Reels. These platforms are all about short, personality-driven, engaging video. Your superpower is charisma and creativity in 15 to 60 seconds. Now pick one, just one. I'm giving you permission to completely ignore all the others for now. The goal is to go deep on one platform, not wide and shallow on 5. Okay, I'm at the party. What do I say? You've picked your platform, you're in the room. Now what? You can't just stand in the corner sipping your drink. To avoid being the awkward party crasher, I want you to use a simple framework that I call the 80-20 rule of giving. 80% of your content is a give. This is pure value with absolutely no strings attached. Your only goal is to entertain, educate, or inspire your audience. This is you being a great party guest. Examples of a give? A quick tip, a useful insight, a behind-the-scenes look at your process, sharing a helpful resource from someone else, or asking a fun question to start a conversation. 20% of your content is an ask. This is where, after providing tons of value in building trust, you can gently point people towards your blog, your YouTube video, your newsletter, or your product. Because you've been so generous, people are genuinely happy to check it out. When I stopped spamming links and started following this rule on Twitter, everything changed. I started sharing quick study tips, productivity hacks, and interesting things I'd learned. I engaged in conversations, my follower count grew, but more importantly, I was building a community of people who actually trusted me. Then, when I did share a new YouTube video, the response was warm and enthusiastic, not cold and silent. Your actionable social media plan. Let's get this done. Here's your mission for this chapter. Take the quiz and pick your platform. Choose the one party you're going to commit to. Optimize your profile. Make it crystal clear who you are and who you help. Your bio should be a mini version of your persona work. Brainstorm 3 give posts. Based on your persona's problems, what are 3 quick, helpful, or entertaining things you can share right now on that platform? Schedule them. Don't wait for inspiration. Put them in a scheduler or just post one today. That's it. You're not trying to go viral. You're not trying to become an influencer overnight. You are simply showing up at the right party and starting a generous conversation.
Do that consistently, and the social butterfly effect will take care of the rest.
Part 3. The conversion. Turning clicks into customers and fans. All right, let's take a moment and acknowledge the win. If you follow the steps in Part 2, something magical is starting to happen. The digital crickets are fading, and you're hearing a new sound, the gentle, beautiful ding of a notification, a doorbell ringing. People are actually showing up at your digital house. Your SEO efforts are guiding them to your door. Your clever ads are delivering personal invitations. Your social media game is making people curious enough to come and see what you're all about. The party is starting. This feels amazing for a second. And then a new kind of panic sets in. The guests are walking through the front door. They're standing in the hallway, looking expectantly. Now what? This is the moment of truth. Having 1,000 people show up at your front door is a great ego boost. But if they all take one look around, get confused, and leave immediately, you haven't actually accomplished anything. You've just created a very busy revolving door. This is the difference between traffic and results. Traffic is easy to measure and feels good, but it's ultimately a vanity metric. What we're really after is connection. We want our guests to feel welcome, to have a good time, and to want to come back. This, my friends, is the art of conversion. I know. Conversion sounds like a cold, aggressive corporate word. It brings to mind images of slick, fast-talking salespeople in cheap suits. But I want you to completely reframe it. Conversion isn't about tricking or pressuring people. It's about being a world-class host. Think about it. When a guest arrives at your house party, what does a good host do? You don't just stare at them blankly. You greet them warmly. You take their coat. You point them towards the drinks. You ask what they're interested in and introduce them to someone you think they'll get along with. You make the experience seamless, enjoyable, and valuable for them. You guide them on a journey. That's all conversion is. It's the process of gently guiding your visitor from just looking to taking the next logical step in their journey with you. That next step could be anything: reading another article, signing up for your newsletter, downloading a free resource, or yes, even buying your product. In this final part of the book, we're going to stop focusing on getting people to the door and start focusing on the experience inside the house. We're going to learn how to be the perfect host. We'll break it down into 3 key stages. Setting the scene. Chapter 6, your digital storefront. First, we need to make sure our house isn't a mess. We'll look at the design of your website and landing pages. Is it clean, inviting, and easy for guests to find what they're looking for? Or is it cluttered and confusing, causing them to leave in frustration? The art of the gentle nudge. Chapter 7, how to get people to say yes. This is where we learn the psychology of being a great host. How do we make offers that feel helpful, not pushy? How do we build trust and write words that connect so that when we ask our guests if they'd like a drink, they enthusiastically say yes? Watching the flow of the party. Chapter 8, the numbers don't lie. Finally, we'll become observant hosts. By looking at the data in a non-creepy way, we can see where our guests are going, where they're getting stuck, and what parts of the party they love most. This allows us to constantly improve the experience for the next wave of visitors. Getting this part right is what separates the amateurs from the pros. It's the engine that turns your hard-earned traffic into a sustainable audience and a thriving business. The guests are at the door. Let's welcome them in.
Chapter 6, your digital storefront, building a website that doesn't suck. Have you ever walked into a shop for the first time and just immediately walked out? You know the kind of place I mean. The lighting is a bit weird, there's music playing from a crackly radio, and the aisles are so cluttered, you can't actually move. There are handwritten signs taped everywhere.
half of them contradicting the other half. You can't find what you're looking for, you can't find anyone to help, and you get this vague, uneasy feeling that the fire exits are probably blocked. So you just nope right out of there. Now, have you ever walked into an Apple store? Love or hate their products, the experience is the complete opposite. It's bright, it's clean, it's spacious, you know exactly what they sell, you can easily find and play with the products. If you need help, there are friendly people in matching t-shirts who are easy to spot. The entire space is designed with one goal in mind, to make it as easy and pleasant as possible for you to experience their products. Your website is your digital storefront, and right now, visitors are walking in. Is it the cluttered, confusing mess, or is it the clean, helpful, Apple Store-esque experience? When I created my first website, it was firmly in the cluttered mess category. I wanted it to do everything. It was my blog, my portfolio, a gallery of my photos, a place for my favorite quotes, and about 6 other things. The homepage was a chaotic collage of different buttons, menus, and text blocks. I thought more choice is better, so I gave visitors about 37 different things they could click on. The result? Most of them chose the 38th option, closing the tab. The problem was that I was designing the website for myself. I was trying to show off everything I could do. I wasn't thinking about the visitor. I wasn't thinking about our persona, Side Hustle Sam. When Sam lands on a website, he doesn't want to see your holiday photos. He has a specific problem, and he is looking for a specific solution. Your website's only job is to give it to him without the headache. This is the core principle of user experience design. It's not about fancy animations or trendy fonts. It's about empathy. It's about making your storefront so clean and intuitive that the visitor never has to think. Let's illustrate this with a trip to my website Hall of Shame and Fame. Exhibit A, the before website, geocitiesdisaster.com. Picture this. You click a link and land on a page that assaults your senses. The background is a repeating pattern of animated GIFs of dancing hamsters. The main text is in Comic Sans, flashing between red and blue. There's a visitor counter at the bottom, proudly displaying 17 visitors since 1998. The navigation menu has 15 items including Home, About Me, My Hobbies, Cool Links, and Guestbook. To find the actual content you came for, you have to scroll past a giant blurry photo of the owner's cat. This is a joke, obviously, but we all do milder versions of this. We clutter our pages with too many social media icons, a pop-up, a banner, 3 different calls to action, and a sidebar full of random widgets. We make our visitors do the work. Exhibit B, the after website, actuallyhelpful.com. Now imagine you land on a different page. It's clean and white. There's one crystal clear headline at the top that speaks directly to your problem. Struggling to find your first freelance client? Below it, a short sentence. Get our free 7-day email course that walks you through the exact steps to land a paying client, even if you have no experience. And below that, a single friendly-looking green button that says, "Send me the course." That's it. There's nothing else to click. There's nothing to distract you. The page has one job, and it does that job perfectly. It doesn't confuse, it clarifies. It doesn't overwhelm, it guides. This is the power of a dedicated landing page. It's a page on your site designed with a single objective in mind. It's the ultimate clean, well-lit storefront. The 5-second test checklist. You don't need to be a designer to fix your website. You just need to be ruthless about clarity. Here's a simple test you can run on your own homepage or any key page on your site. Ask a friend, or be brutally honest with yourself, to look at the page for just 5 seconds, then close it. Can they answer these 3 questions? What is this page about? Can they tell instantly what you offer? What's in it for me? Is the value to them immediately obvious? And what should I do next? Is the primary action, that big button, unmistakable? If they can't answer all 3 in 5 seconds, your storefront is too cluttered.
Your mission for this chapter is to take one key page on your site, your homepage or a page you send ad traffic to, and put it through the 5-second test. Then be brave. Start removing things. Get rid of that weird widget. Shorten that long paragraph. Make your main call to action bigger and bolder. Remember, a great website isn't about what you can add, it's about what you can take away. Clean up your store. Your visitors will thank you for it.
Chapter 7, The Art of the Nudge. How to get people to say yes. The guests are inside your clean, well-designed digital storefront. They like the vibe. They can see what you're about. This is a huge win. But there's a difference between someone window shopping and someone actually trying something on. Our job as a great host is to bridge that gap. We need to learn how to give our visitors a gentle, helpful nudge in the right direction. Now, when I say nudge, I am not talking about becoming a pushy salesperson. We all know that feeling. You're browsing in a store and a salesperson swoops in with, "Can I help you? Are you going to buy that? If you buy it today, I can throw in this cheap set of steak knives." It feels slimy and desperate, and it makes you want to leave. A nudge is different. It's the art of ethical persuasion. It's about making the next step so obviously valuable and easy that the visitor wants to take it. It's about building trust and then making a helpful suggestion. My favorite story about this comes from my own website. For years, at the bottom of my blog posts, I had a little box to sign up for my newsletter. The button to confirm simply said, "Submit." It's a standard, boring, functional word. It got me a handful of signups every week. It was fine. Then I read about copywriting and the psychology of persuasion. I learned that the words on your buttons, your call to action, matter a lot. So I decided to run a little experiment, an A/B test where half the visitors saw the old button and half saw a new one. I changed one word. The new button said, "Join." Specifically, the text above it read, "Join 150,000 plus other readers," and the button itself just said, "Join." I was changing the frame from a robotic action, submit data, to a communal one, join the tribe. The result, my newsletter signups increased by over 20% overnight from changing a single word. My mind was blown. It wasn't a trick. It was just better communication. I was tapping into the human desire to be part of something. I then ran another test, changing the button to something that focused on the value they would get. Get the free guide. That worked even better. This is the art of the nudge. It's about small hinges that swing big doors, and it's a science you can learn. Here are the 3 key ingredients. Ingredient 1, the trust battery. Before you can ask for anything, an email, a sale, even a click, you need to build trust. Every visitor lands on your site with a trust battery at about 20%. Every piece of helpful content you provide, every professional design element, every typo-free sentence charges that battery. Every slimy pop-up, broken link, or hyped-up claim drains it. You can only make an ask when the battery is sufficiently charged. This is why our 80-20 rule from the social media chapter is so important. Give, 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 then ask. Ingredient 2, the irresistible offer, the lead magnet. People are incredibly protective of their email addresses. Sign up for my newsletter is a weak offer. Why should they? What's in it for them? You need to create what marketers call a lead magnet. It's just a fancy term for an ethical bribe. You offer a small but incredibly valuable piece of content for free in exchange for their email address. This isn't just any old PDF. It must be a super specific solution to one of your persona's super specific problems. For Side Hustle Sam, it could be a freelance proposal template or a client onboarding checklist. For a fitness coach's audience, it might be a 7-day healthy meal plan. For a student, it could be a Notion study timetable template. The key is that it provides a quick win. It's something they can use right now. This not only gets you their email, but also demonstrates your value and charges their trust battery to 100%. Ingredient 3, the unmistakable nudge,
the call to action. This is your button. This is where you tell people exactly what to do. The best calls to action are two things. Action-oriented, start with a verb. Get, download, join, start. And value-focused. Complete the sentence, I want to. For example, I want to get my free template. Or I want to start the 7-day challenge. Compare that to the robotic submit or download. Your compelling copy checklist. Ready to start nudging? Look at the main call to action on your landing page. Does it check these boxes? Is the trust battery charged? Have you provided enough value on the page before the ask? Is the offer irresistible? Are you offering a specific solution to a specific problem, your lead magnet? Is the headline clear and compelling? Does it call out to your persona and their pain point? Is the button text value-focused? Does it complete the sentence, I want to? Is there any social proof? Can you add a small note like join 1,000 plus others to show that people trust you? Your mission is to upgrade one call to action on your site using this checklist. Change the words, reframe the offer, turn your boring submit into an exciting start my journey. You might be surprised at how big a difference one small, friendly nudge can make.
Chapter 8. The Numbers Don't Lie. How to Use Data to Make Better Decisions. All right, confession time. For the first year of my online journey, my relationship with Google Analytics was one of deep mutual avoidance. I dutifully installed the tracking code because some guide told me to, but I rarely ever logged in. And when I did, my brain would immediately turn to static. It was a nightmare of charts, graphs, and menus with terrifying names like audience, behavior, frequency, and recency. I felt like a first-year medical student who'd accidentally wandered into a lecture on advanced quantum physics. I had no idea what any of it meant, and it all seemed terrifyingly important. So, I focused on the one big shiny number I did understand. Users. Total visitors. I'd log in, see that the number had gone up a bit, and think, hooray, I'm winning at the internet! Then I'd quickly close the tab before I broke anything. This was a classic vanity metric. It felt good, but it was ultimately useless. Knowing I had 10,000 visitors is like knowing 10,000 people walked past my shop. It doesn't tell me if anyone came inside, if they liked what they saw, or if they bought anything. I was flying blind, celebrating the wind instead of actually steering the ship. The breakthrough came when I stopped thinking of analytics as a report card to be feared and started thinking of it as a tool for observation. I decided to stop being a nervous student and start being a detective. The observant party host. Remember our party analogy? You've cleaned the house, Chapter 6, and learned how to welcome your guests, Chapter 7. Now it's time to be an observant host. You're not spying on your guests. You're simply noticing things from across the room. You notice that the bowl of guacamole is empty in 10 minutes, but nobody's touched the weird olive loaf. You notice that everyone seems to congregate in the kitchen, but the living room is empty. You notice that a few guests seem to be looking for the bathroom but can't find it, get frustrated, and leave. What do you do with this information? You make a mental note. Next party, make double the guac, ditch the olive loaf, and put a sign on the bathroom door. This is all Google Analytics is. It's your tool for observing your party so you can make the next one even better. You don't need to understand every conversation. You just need to spot the big patterns. The good news is you can ignore 95% of the stuff in Google Analytics. To get started, you only need to be a detective on 3 key cases. Data Detective Case File, the only 3 clues you need. Clue number 1, the case of the secret entrance, acquisition report. The question, where are my best guests coming from? Where to look? Acquisition, then traffic acquisition. What it tells you. This report shows you how people found your party. Did they find your invitation through Google? Organic search? Did they click a link on Twitter? Organic social? Did they respond to your paid ad? Paid search? The insight. This is the most direct feedback on your marketing efforts. If you see that 80% of the people who actually sign up for your newsletter are coming from Google search, you've struck gold. It tells you that your SEO efforts are attracting high-quality visitors. The logical conclusion? Double down on what's working. Spend more time writing helpful blog posts and less time worrying about your Pinterest board that isn't sending anyone. Clue number 2. The case of the popular hangout spot, pages and screens report. The question, what are my guests actually enjoying at the party? Where to look? Engagement, pages and screens. What it tells you? This is a simple list of the most popular rooms, pages on your website. It's your audience voting with their clicks. The insight, this is your content roadmap handed to you on a silver platter. If you've written 20 blog posts and you see that your post, A Simple Guide to Freelance Contracts, gets 10 times more traffic than anything else, that's your audience screaming, "We want more of this." The deduction is simple. Write a part 2, create a YouTube video on that topic, or build a downloadable contract template as a lead magnet. Clue number 3, the case of the converting guests. Conversions report. The question, how many people are taking the one action I want them to take? Where to look? Conversions. This requires a one-time, simple setup where you tell Google what your most important goal is, like visiting your "Thank you for subscribing" page. What it tells you. This is the bottom line. This is your ultimate scorecard. It connects all the other data to a real result. The insight? This tells you if your changes are actually working. Let's say you follow the advice in Chapter 7 and change your boring Submit button to an exciting Get My Free Template button. How do you know if it worked? You look here. If your conversion rate on that page goes from 1% to 3%, you have conclusive proof. You found a better way to host. This metric turns your gut feelings into cold, hard facts. Let's solve a mystery, the case of the bouncing ad traffic. You're the detective. Here's the case brief. The mystery. You launched a new ad campaign on Instagram. The ad is getting tons of clicks. Hundreds of people are visiting your site, but your sales haven't increased at all. What's going on? Clue number 1, acquisition. You confirm the traffic is indeed coming from paid social and specifically from Instagram. Your ad is working in that sense. Clue number 2, pages and screens. You see that all this traffic is going to your main homepage. Clue number 3, engagement. You filter your report to only show Instagram traffic, and you notice that engagement rate is extremely low, around 10%. This means 90% of people are landing and leaving almost instantly. They are bouncing. The deduction, you look at your ad again. The ad promised a 50% discount on your first purchase, but the link sends them to your home page where they have to search for the products and see the regular prices. There's a huge disconnect between the promise of the ad and the reality of the landing page. Your guests are showing up for a pool party but are being led to the library. They're confused and annoyed, so they leave. The solution, you create a specific landing page just for this offer. The page has a clear headline. Welcome, here's your 50% discount. It shows the discounted products right there. You change the link in your ad to go to this new page. The promise now matches the destination. See, you're a detective. You used a few simple clues to diagnose the problem and find a solution. Your analytics mission, 15 minutes a week. I'm not asking you to live inside Google Analytics. I'm asking you to become a data detective for 15 minutes, once a week. That's it. Install Google Analytics 4. If you haven't, it's your top priority. Set up one key conversion goal. The easiest is a thank you page view after an email sign-up. Schedule your data detective time. Put it in your calendar. During that time, look at your 3 clues. Where are people coming from? What pages do they love? And are they converting? End by asking one question. Based on this, what is the one thing I can do next week to double down on what's working? Data isn't scary. It's your most honest, helpful friend. It tells you what your audience truly wants, not what you think they want. It's the ultimate tool for turning your guesses into strategy and working smarter, not harder. Now, go solve some cases. Conclusion. Your journey doesn't end here. The lifelong game of digital marketing. All right, you've done it. You've reached the end of the book. If this were a video game, you've just completed the tutorial level. You've learned the controls, you've mastered the basic moves, and you've defeated the first boss, which was probably your own fear of getting started. You should feel incredibly proud of that. Seriously, take a moment and appreciate how far you've come. Just think about where you were when you started. The digital marketing world probably felt like that intimidating, jargon-filled recipe from a Michelin star restaurant. Now, you know how to cook. We started by laying a rock-solid foundation, building our house on solid ground by understanding our goals and becoming detectives to find our people. We stopped shouting into the void and started talking to someone. Then, we learned how to throw the party. We made friends with the world's biggest librarian, Google, to help people find us. We ran scientific ad experiments like a pro, not a gambler. And we figured out how to be the most interesting person at the social media party instead of the annoying party crasher. And finally, we learned how to be the perfect host. We cleaned up our digital storefront so it wasn't a cluttered mess, and we mastered the gentle art of the nudge, turning curious visitors into genuine fans. We learned that data isn't a scary report card. It's our observation tool for making the next party even better. But here's the most important lesson of all, and it's the one I want you to take with you long after you've put this book down. The game is never over. The truth is, by the time you read this, some of the specific tactics might have changed. There will be a new social media platform everyone is talking about. Google will have updated its algorithm again. A new ad format will be all the rage. And if you only learned a list of tactics from this book, that fact might be terrifying. It would feel like you have to constantly start over from scratch. But that's not what you learned. The biggest thing you've gained from this book isn't a list of instructions. It's a mindset. It's a set of timeless, fundamental frameworks for thinking. You don't just know about SEO, you know how to think like a librarian and be helpful. You don't just know how to run a Facebook ad, you know how to think like a scientist and test a hypothesis. You don't just know how to post on Instagram, you know how to think like a community builder and provide value. This mindset is your real superpower. It's future-proof. It means you can look at any new platform, any new tool, any new trend, and analyze it through the lens of everything you've learned. You can ask the right questions. Who's this for? How could I provide value here? How does this fit into my system? To help you on that continuing journey, I want to leave you with a few of my favorite resources that I personally use to stay sharp and productive. The Productivity Power-Up, my go-to digital marketing toolkit. Think of this as your post-tutorial level-up kit. For staying sharp, the library, the Hrefs blog and YouTube channel. Even if you don't use their paid tool, their free content on SEO and content marketing is genuinely world-class. It's my go-to for in-depth, data-backed strategies. Search Engine Journal. A great resource for staying on top of the daily news and algorithm changes from Google and the major social platforms. Marketing Examples. A brilliant visual-first site that breaks down amazing marketing campaigns into simple, inspiring case studies. For Getting Things Done. The Toolkit. Canva. For non-designers who need to create professional-looking social media graphics, lead magnets, or ad creatives. The free version is incredibly powerful. Buffer or Later. To schedule your social media posts in advance. This is a game changer for consistency and lets you batch your work, which is a massive productivity win. Notion. My second brain for everything. I use it to plan content calendars, build my persona documents, and track my marketing experiments. For Knowing the Score, the dashboard. Google Analytics 4, non-negotiable. Make it a weekly 15-minute habit to be a data detective and see what's working. Hotjar, a fascinating tool with a decent free plan that creates heat maps to show you where people are clicking on your website.
It's the closest you can get to literally watching over your visitors' shoulders. When I started my own accidental journey into this world, all I could hear were the deafening sounds of digital crickets. I felt lost, overwhelmed, and like I wasn't cut out for it. You don't have to feel that way. You now have the recipe. You have the tools. You have the framework. You have a system for building a foundation, attracting an audience, and turning that attention into a community. The only thing left to do is to keep playing the game. Keep experimenting. Keep learning. Keep being generous with your value. And have fun with it. The digital crickets should be very, very afraid. The real game starts now. Go play.